Hello, queens. Hello, kings. I just want to come on today and have a short conversation with everyone about generational curses. A lot of times people don't know that they're going through generational curses or even so what a generational curse is. So, furthermore, I'm going to explain to you what I feel like a generational curse is. A generational curse is something that's believed to be passed down from generation to generation due to rebellion against God's word. If your family, some people may be marked by divorce, incest, poverty, anger, ungodly patterns, addictions, abuse, and a lot of times if those habits aren't broken, they'll trickle down the line. Well, one of the situations that I have in being involved with a generational curse is having children out of wedlock and staying in toxic relationships. And I noticed that if I don't change these habits and I don't stop these things from happening, that my kids, my daughters, will pick up these same habits. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that I experienced while trying to break these generational curses. First, I just want to tell you a little bit about my background. I grew up in Flint, Michigan. I lived there till I was 14 years old. I lived with my mother. She passed away when I was 14. My mother had 8 kids and 4 different fathers. She was very unhappy. She was very angry, and we lived on a street which was Robin and Pasadena, where there was a lot of shootings, a lot of gang violence. I remember there were times when we used to have to lay down on the ground and because people would be riding by shooting and stuff. And I just remember how unhappy she was because my father was in and out of our lives. I remember there would be times when she would just drink a lot, smoked a lot. She did involved in other kind of drugs, which I'm not judging her, because at first it was hard for me to forgive her because she kind of took her anger out on us because she was so unhappy. But as I grew up and I realized how hard it had to be a mother of 8 kids by yourself. And so I'm pretty sure that was very hard for her. But with me watching my mother allow this type of toxic behavior to go on, it trickled down to us. So she would let my father come in and out of our lives. There was even times where he would abuse my mother. And this is not speaking badly about my father at all, because everybody grows and everybody changes. But me watching this type of behavior, like she never left her house. She was just very depressed and very unhappy. And the things that I witnessed and the things that I learned from her, I grew up with. So I grew up feeling as if I needed those type. I kept the same behavior. I kept the same pattern. So I was allowing toxic men into my life. I would allow men to come in and out of my children's life. I would sit and wait for him to come around. The same thing my mother was doing. I realized I was doing the exact same things. Sitting and waiting on a man who wasn't fully committed to me, but was making me believe that he was fully committed to me. So basically I was single and waiting for him to get himself together. The same thing that my mother did. I wouldn't talk to any other man. And then the abuse that came with it, whether it was physical, mental, emotional abuse, that's whatever form it is still abuse. And then I had to realize, like, my daughters are watching this, my kids are watching this. And do you want your kids to grow up doing the same things? Because they watch everything that you do. They mimic everything you do. And they're going to mimic everything you do. So it's up to you to choose whether or not you want to stop this. It's up to you to choose whether or not you want a better life for your kids when they grow up. And that's what I'm choosing to do. And yes, it's hard to walk away on something that you felt like was supposed to be your life. Somebody who was supposed to be your husband or whatever the case may be. But Even it's not even just being in a toxic relationship. It could be something as far as some type of form of addiction to drugs, or some type of abuse, as far as someone physically hurting you and making you believe that that's okay because you grew up that way. Your childhood and the way that you grew up has affects a lot with your present relationships, even with your kids. So if you don't start the healing process and start doing things differently, this is just going to keep, it's going to keep messing up things for your future, because you're not fully loving yourself. And if you don't fully love yourself, how can you love anybody else? How could you let anybody else love you? It's going to be hard. It's like filling an empty vessel. So that's all I wanted to do today, was get on here and just, talk to you guys a little bit about some of the things that I've went through, and I'm hoping that it'll help you to get a better understanding on some of the things that you possibly may be going through. And I pray that God will start healing in your life, and I pray that God will send the right people into your lives to help you heal, to get through the situations that you've been through, and I pray that you'll start making positive changes, because if you have kids, they're watching. So you all have a blessed day. Much love.